Carl, my man, I'm pumped to hear from you because we were talking about man at play, lover, player, magnet the other day, and you've seen a lot of good changes, but it's just in the way that you're describing it right before we got on, we got to talk about man at control a little bit. So I'd like to hear that story again. I want to get that out there because I really love the work that you're doing. Can you give me those quick highlights again real quick?
Yeah, sure. So after the conversation the other day, I was walking through Walmart and picked up a stack of Post-it notes to kind of drop some fun stuff around the house, and then grabbed, I don't know, 6 or 7, maybe 8, just gift cards or whatever, just cards to, get well soon, whatever. And I wrote an endearing, encouraging note to my wife because she's a powerhouse. She's going through school, going through homeopathy school, going through functional medicine school. She's teaching massage therapy. She's running a massage therapy business. Like, she is all over the place and helping raise the 4 kids that we still have in the house. And she's feeling overwhelmed. So I dropped her an encouraging note in it, hey babe, love you. You really motivate me and inspire me to become a better person. Like, I can't, imagine life without you, all that great stuff in there. And then I actually took it and I put it, kind of hid it in her purse somewhere so that she wouldn't find it right away, but maybe, a day or 2 later she'd find it. And so now that's where the story split. So number 1 has been, I don't know if she found it or not. I haven't dug into it, but I feel this need to, right? Like, I've tried to take a peek in the purse. I've tried to peek this way. I've tried to see if she maybe moved it somewhere, which is the man in control piece that I need to work through. But she's been really attentive physically lately. Like last night when I got home, she gave me a big kiss and just held me and wanted to be held. And then this morning before she left, she kind of gave me a big, passionate make-out kiss before she walked out the door for the day to go to work. So a lot of awesome things there, but now I'm now at the point as well with struggling with I want to do more of these things because I want to, but now I'm questioning myself, is it because I want to, or because I'm starting to drop that expectation of, I want to drop more of these because I want more of that. And
Okay. What a great reflection. So first and foremost, man, before we break it down a little bit, how are you feeling right now? Like, you've got to be feeling incredible. I mean, you're describing,
awesome.
Yeah, you're describing like the way the reset's supposed to go. And yes, we don't always know. And we'll talk about that in a minute here, but that's what's supposed to happen, where you start to rebuild this connection again, where it just starts to feel natural. But what we need to talk about is why you're starting to think, well, is it because she saw it? I want to do more of that because I want more of that, right? And what we want to understand is it's not just the man at play. You're being an incredible lover. I mean, you're thinking about your lover's list. You're building it out. You're utilizing it. You're doing it in ways that are polarizing. So you're being a magnet, and you're obviously doing the player thing because she's giving you this kiss you're describing with this massive smile on your face, and you're like, awesome, right? And so so we're moving in the right direction. But what we forget sometimes is if you don't, you probably don't really think about it, but if you look at the reset, man at play is the last thing that we cover. Now, I try to encourage you to include the lover, the player, and the magnet throughout the reset, but I'm not really that direct. I'm always like, but we'll talk about that more, right? And it's so that you can start to get to some of the stuff that makes us feel incredible as a man. I mean, when your wife is coming up and giving you a kiss like that, you feel like, holy shit, we're connecting again, right? When you start having these awesome conversations again, you start to feel like, wow, okay, this is the different kind of intimacy that we need in order to have the physical intimacy. And guys that come to me like you want more of all levels of intimacy, right? It just, because of what I say on my reels, sometimes people get the wrong idea. So what I want you to do is think about the other men in the program first. I don't mean lords. I mean, starting with man in power, man with impact, man in control, which we need to talk about, okay? And we work our way through all the way to man at play, okay? Those guys all set up man at play, which is why I don't put it first. The old reset was like, here's everything all at once, go. And what guys would do is they jump right to, I used to call it pushing buttons. They jump right to pushing their buttons, man at play, instead of realizing the importance and the value of all the other layers. So I wanted to recognize this real quick because I need you to see how far you've come being a man in power, just taking responsibility for the kind of man that you want to be. The way you just described, I want to do more. It's not tied to expectations entirely. I think you're being hard on yourself. I think that you're thinking about man in control because of so many guys out of control in the group, right? With the other lords. And
I was out of control before I started this.
Exactly. And so if you start to think about who we used to be and the fear of going backwards, I don't want to lose this awesome new attention, this awesome new reciprocal attention, this new affection, reciprocal affection. Sure, approval, validation, but it's reciprocal, right? This is what we want, a reciprocal relationship, a partnership, right? So I really want you to recognize that because you are completely different. Remember in the beginning, I'm like, Mr. Nice Guy, right?
Oh yeah.
But now you're just being aware. So before we talk about being out of control with expectations, I want you to realize you are so in control that you're focused on your power and your impact first. Your wife has to feel safe to want to come love on you like that again. She has to be trusting that the new you is actually real, right? So you can be in as control as you want, but if we have an established man with impact and we don't have an environment where you can be emotionally connecting again, then it doesn't really matter. She's not hearing anything you're saying. She's only going to see the give to get that you used to have. So before, when you do something sweet, you were expecting something in return. So it wouldn't matter how sweet it was, even if you thought all on your own to come up with this great way to show her how hard she's working. By the way, I love the way you described a powerhouse of a wife. I think that gives you the opportunity to be a superpower couple, not just a power couple down the road.
That's another thing I'm struggling for. We'll talk that later.
Okay, we can add that into. The pride that you feel behind that is different than what you felt before. What you felt before was more of the need to prove that you were a powerhouse so that you could get more affection in return, more love in return. That's how we give to get, the covert contract as the nice guy. Okay, does that make sense?
I can see that. Yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from there.
So now if you can just go, whoa, take a step back and breathe it in. Breathe it in. Fuck, I'm not even my nice guy like I think. I'm just literally thinking I'm afraid to be the nice guy. That's okay. I never want to be fucking Ryan again. Fuck that guy. Right? No. You know what I mean? In fact, I was told once, what if you loved the old guy? I just don't want to be that guy, man. I just don't. No. You know what I mean? I hate that guy.
No, that guy was a lazy turd burglar.
There you go, right? So that's the first step, is recognizing you're not the new guy, okay? And you've come so far, you're utilizing the program, and now you've worked your way all the way through, and you're being an incredible man at play. Like you really are. It sounds like it's really coming along. The pride, the smiles, just the joy from it, just the interactions that we've had briefly over the text. So happy with the program is the message you sent the other day, right?
Yeah, so absolutely.
So good. Now let's talk about man in control with expectations. All you're doing is you're worried about being that guy, and it will always still be there, right? We all love to be validated. We love to be approved. That's a relationship thing, dude. We get such a bad rap as men because we're doing it for approval. We want her vagina, and I understand it all too well. But if you think about any relationship, it always starts the same. Wow, you're everything I ever wanted. Oh my gosh, you're the most beautiful person on the planet. Let me drop everything for you. This is reciprocal, by the way. We get together and we continue dating because we can't wait to see each other because it's perfect and you're perfect and she's perfect. And we're so happy that we both feel that way and we come together. But when we start to feel like our needs aren't being met, we stop validating and start blaming. We stopped showing affection like a lover and we start showing bitterness, resentment for our needs not being met. And then fast forward a while, and you've learned a lot as this overcoming your nice guy, but fast forward in between that stop where you became the guy that wants to realize he needs to take responsibility for himself. Somewhere in there, you were just protecting who you were, and we were starting to bastardize those needs. We were starting to give to get. I'm not saying that you didn't do that wrong in the beginning, but in the beginning, we were both doing it. Not just you, she was doing it too. You're both loving on each other. And so I don't think that approval is a bad thing. I just think that we need to be able to survive without it because we can self-soothe. We can self-approve. We are proud enough of who we are. Does that make sense?
Right. No, that makes perfect sense.
Okay, so when you start to feel like, oh, I want to do more because I want more, that's what you said. But do you know something else that you also said? You said, but I want to give more. I want to do more for her. And that's
Yes.
what it's all about. So you might be worried and still have a bit of you in you that's maybe losing a little control. But at the end of the day, you're still also incorporating. But I love her, and I want her to know. There isn't a man and woman on the planet that doesn't want to be loved, valued, respected. And if that's what you feel, that's what you should share. That's where gratitude comes in. That's where appreciation, validation, approval, everything. So you've got this little inner turmoil. It's because you know who you are and you're still reflecting. But now you know who you are and you're not catching on to that guy. Embrace that guy.
Okay. That makes sense.
So when you think about wanting to do more, all you have to do with that is go, it's okay if she doesn't see the notes, right? If you think about looking in the purse to see if they're ruffled or whatever,
Yep.
You just stop yourself. That's the insecurity, the monster, when it has its grip on you, that's what's going to undo the love and affection, right? So even though you've accepted, wow, this was amazing, the reaction, I don't know where it came from. If you now know that it's probably from the whole program, or maybe she did see the notes, but it doesn't matter because that's part of the program. Do you think you can just sort of go, well, actually, I want to share something else with her that I appreciate. She's fucking awesome. She needs to hear it. And just
absolutely
follow through with the program. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's for sure that's definitely where it started was she needs to know, that because my words, me sitting her and just showering her with, how awesome I think she is has never worked in the past. She's not a words of affirmation person. In fact, it makes her cringe from years and years of, just the way she was brought up. So it just makes her skin crawl. But doing it the other way where I can show her through that card, right? Like just drop that little bit of love so she finds it in her own time and she can sit there and reflect, or when she needs to later on, open up and be like, man, he really does love me and I am valued here. Like that part makes me feel good that she knows that. So I can absolutely use that feeling to continue on this path. Maybe not with cards every week, but definitely something so it's not repetitive. And
if that's the VFC method that I teach you guys, right? But regardless of that, we can always stack the love languages, right? The real 5. Mm-hmm. But in addition, let's break it down first. And I think we did have a conversation about this right early on. You weren't there yet, though. We hadn't seen it yet. What is her love language?
Quality time is her number 1.
Quality time. So you could literally be doing anything where you're spending time together and your words of affirmation will reach her. And you could be super cute. Let's just say you draw a bubble bath for her, right? She had a rough day, so you do an act of service, okay? But you sat on the floor next to her or took some scrub and rubbed her out. Rubbed her out, that sounds bad. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
no,
I like to rub
Catherine's
legs. I mean, like, I like to rub Catherine's legs in the bath. But
I got you exactly.
So if there's bubbles there to start, for example, you could put a little heart in there with a little speech bubble in there. And she's like, what's the speech bubble for? And you can give her some affirmation and you're spending this quality time with her. Even if the affirmation comes prior to that time actually really becoming quality, you're going to set the tone and she's going to know what you said. And the thing about the lovers list is when you start to break it down, why? So she's a powerhouse. I love that. And she is the kind of woman who's got this on the go, this on the go, this on the go. And it inspires you. Add in the why it inspires you. Add in how it motivates you for the other purposes in your life. Because that's really what those are for her, right? And then you can show full on during that quality time. Because this could be now your little comment on your lovers list that you saved for the right time can now be a 35-minute quality time conversation about pride for her, which in turn, by the way, down the road, she'll be able to accept that affirmation. Down the road, she'll be able to appreciate it. It's just hard because of her programming right now. Hard from you undermining because you had no impact for a long time, because we didn't let her feel for a while, because your words undermined all the affection you gave before when you blamed her, things like that, right? But down the road, you can edit that programming by being continual and consistent with this. And so you add in quality time like that, you start throwing the affirmation, the full why, not just the, I think you're beautiful, right? And
Right.
then all of a sudden, because it's all these different things that you love, value, respect, essentially starts to feel seen and heard. So I don't care if you like affirmation or not. Everybody wants to be seen or heard, and that's pretty common for women. They want to feel like a priority too. We do too, but we're here to
Right.
make her feel like a priority. So what you're doing right now is you're sacrificing, you're giving, you're going over the top to serve. But when it becomes reciprocal, like you're probably physical touch. I'm assuming most of us are as men, or at least it's up there.
Most men are.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So when she gave you that kiss, that filled your bucket.
Oh yeah.
So, people, we get a bad rap, or women get a bad rap for serving, actually, even more than men. And then we're being simps if we do this. What the fuck? Everybody wants to be loved, valued, respected. You're in the program, you go get your wife, you do this stuff, you come up with all these different kinds of quality time, and it can be that simple, a mini date, home date, right? It could be something glorious where you're out for a wonderful night, you've taken a separate traincation, you're at a separate date, and all of a sudden you're like, you just stop and you just look at her and you say something to her after this nice, wonderful night, something that really means something to you, and you include the why, then all of a sudden, these will start to outweigh all the years. Even before you, sounds like it was before you, where she can't accept that kind of stuff. But
I didn't help, but it was definitely before me.
Yeah, but you supported it. You edited that program by making it harder for her and things like that. But you see, the more that you can be consistent with this, Carl, the more she's going to let you in. And consequently, the more she's going to want to reach you. Right?
No, that makes sense.
Now, are you also an affirmations guy? A lot of us need that a lot when we're nice guys. So are you also lacking in the affirmations, the uplifting, the boosting department as well?
No, I don't. It's not something that I've ever wanted or desired, because my hard programming from when I was real young was to not be seen. Right.
Okay, so you're hiding.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the less I was seen, the less I got the shit beat out of me when I was growing up. So definitely not wanting to be in the light of any, by any means. So the words of affirmation, not quality time, and then touch are the two probably the biggest ones for me.
Okay, the reason why I was asking is exactly this. So quite often we get together, and when we always focus on love languages being the love language that we need, and it's different than our partner. That's usually the big problem. But what I've noticed is a lot of us get together with somebody, and there's certain things that we can't stand also, right? So in your guys' case, neither of you really wants the affirmation. So
right.
One of the most incredible things about becoming a superpower couple is because you guys know that so well, you trust each other so well with what you truly believe, because you overcome this fear of being told, I'm great, right? And the other reason why this is important is that if you can lead her here, and you can lead her by accepting whatever she starts to share with you, because it usually will be a little reciprocal, right? And then what'll happen is you're going to have to work hard to continue to push that, because one of you will probably pull back. And since you're leading, you're going to have to keep going forward. Okay? Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
It's one of the easiest ways, because if you think about, let's say, challenge with the kids, you're having a really rough time. When our partner steps in because maybe we're having a tough time, right? So your wife, she comes in, or Catherine comes in for me, those words, and because we've seen the love all around, will make us be okay and not attack ourselves for not being good enough with our kids in that moment. Realizing we have a partner, because we've been recognizing her and we've been acknowledging her words to us, right?
Right.
And so it can help with your manic control a lot, right? So in that example specifically, the more you guys were supporting each other as parents with affirmations, because kids are the easiest one to mess up, man, as far as I'm concerned. Once you have this nailed with your partner, it's the kids' emotions, man. Holy shit, right? So this is what'll help you when your wife steps in and is like, hey, babe, I got this. And you don't feel attacked. You don't feel like you're ready to start undoing some of those wonderful things that you guys have been doing and saying during quality time. Right?
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense there.
Okay, so do you have any questions about what we covered so far?
Uh, Not what we covered specifically, but maybe this will. My next question might tie into that actually. Um,
Yep.
with her being so strong and such a powerhouse, and even in her own words, a very masculine energy. That's something that I
Hmm.
struggle with, even in the confidence issue and um, not having a purpose because she's got multiple purposes in her life, and me not having any is just one of those things that's really. I think that's part of my lack of man in control because I feel like I've got everything's happening to me and around me as opposed to me driving any of that.
Okay, so let's break this into two things. So the first thing is, I want you to embrace the fact that she's a powerhouse. Absolutely embrace it. You could never be a power couple, and that's the term people would use. When they talk about couple goals, they're
Right.
talking about power couple. I like to think, and Catherine likes to think, super power couple. But you can't even be a power couple if only one of you is strong. It's not freaking
Right.
possible.
No.
You just can't. To be a power couple or superpower couple, you'll both have strengths. So clearly, purpose is easy for her. But
Mm.
if when we get you exactly where we want you to be, she would never look down on you for that. Now I know in the program I'm like, you need to be a man with purpose. That's part of the program. So we can. That's part two. We'll talk about that in a sec. But at the end of the day, if you can think about the easiest example is man at home, man with kids. She should not be your mom or your maid, but sometimes men, lords, feel like they are her dad and her butler for a while, right? And we start to feel this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. But if you think about it like long term end game, when you guys are that strong couple, that power
Mm.
couple, your strengths will carry her weaknesses and vice versa. Okay, so that's actually incredible that she's a power couple, or sorry, a super powerhouse. And it's actually wonderful if you can start to embrace it and lift her up and boost her for it. But that doesn't mean that you're weak. It means you're only weak if you don't start to learn new skills to overcome your weaknesses. Preferably, she boosts you. She might not be there yet. Okay, we've got
No,
to show
she's
up.
she's definitely
Right?
there for driving me
Okay.
to do the things. I truly and completely lost my purpose about 2 years ago when I got medically disqualified from what I was doing in the military, and then retirement immediately afterwards. Everything. So I lost my primary joy in life, and then
Hmm.
separated with retirement. So I lost all of that purpose like within 2 months of each other, and I was like, damn. And I've just kind of been floundering with that since.
Okay. So have you gone down the rabbit hole to try to figure out what would excite you, get you going again, at all yet?
Uh, I did a little bit on a call with Pete Campbell a couple weeks ago, and I've
Yeah.
got a couple things that I've been learning up on and reading and watching YouTube videos on. I haven't dropped the money to go out there and do the things yet, but I've definitely been getting excited about a couple different items.
Okay, so how we work purpose is pretty straightforward. First things first, you go down the rabbit hole and you do what you're doing. You're starting to get excited. You're starting to think about what would interest you. Okay. Second thing is you kind of think about things that would be amazing for you to give back. At the end of the day, what would be something that would be rewarding and enlightening for the world? Okay. And the world, that's loose, man. Like a lot of guys, like some of the lords are doing things with young men right now, right? Jiu-jitsu, for example, and taking kids off the street. Like, so they're like that. The world is loose. Okay. The point is giving back. I have a running joke, which I don't think I included in the new reset, but I say, I don't care if you fucking love knitting, man. I don't care how silly that looks because you love knitting. If you knit a sweater for a homeless guy, you help that guy get a job. The next time you see him, he's walking out of the job and he sells that sweater Lululemon and you just made this guy's life. I mean, yeah, you'd probably be upset because you could have made millions with Lululemon. But the point is, that's not what we do. We don't give to get anymore, right?
Right.
You did something incredible for that guy. That's purpose, man. So if you can take what you love along the way, man, that could change so many different times. You might have this great Lululemon plan in mind. You might love knitting or sewing, let's say, and it turns into knitting and it turns into who fucking knows? You want to enjoy the ride. Here's my piece of advice that I want you to understand though. Too often we quit because it's not enjoyable because it's hard to get there. So it starts out great playing the guitar. End goal is to be doing shows for charity, whatever, right? And by the way, you can make money with the things that you do. I do, right? But my point is, it's easier to think about everything without money first. If you do what you love, money will come. Okay.
Right.
So here's the thing. You just go enjoy the ride. But if you're like, oh man, my fingers hurt too much, so I'm just not going to bother anymore. You didn't actually give it a shot. Well, then you're never going to find your purpose. If you dwell on the things that you've lost, you're never going to find your purpose. You can also take the things that you lost and go, how could I apply more to that? Maybe there's some work with vets that you can do, using Lords, for example, right? Maybe it's just taking purpose and helping vets that are struggling. Maybe I'm just spitballing or making up ideas.
Yeah, no.
But that's all you do, and then you just get started, dude. You just get started. And now go back to Sheena. Now, do not be afraid. As a man with impact and where you're at in the reset, do not be afraid to go talk to her and say, babe, whatever it is, right? I'm coming up with my purposes, and I'm really afraid to start. I can't figure out a plan. You're really good at this. Can you give me a hand? That's the vulnerability that our wives want, not puking our feelings up. This sucks. I mean, nothing I try works. And we all do, right? When we nothing works, and I can't get anything, I can't find anything to do, and every time I start something, like the internet crashes, and shut the fuck up. Like, it's different. But if you can be vulnerable with your powerhouse, dude, embrace it. She will love that, and she will help you. Now, if you can't figure anything out for a year, we're having problems. But that's not going to be Carl. That's not going to be who you are. That might be the old guy sitting on the couch. But now you have your wife, you have Lords, you have me. You have anybody that you start to bring into your life, because we're removing the negative, we're bringing in the positive people, right?
Right, absolutely.
So, does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense.
Do you feel like you can get off the call, and I don't mean today, your day's probably planned up, but do you feel like in the next 7 days you can get some time in your schedule and start making it happen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And are you using a schedule? Are you organizing your life so that we make sure we stay with it?
I do have a schedule. I need to start trimming the fat from my schedule. I just started a new job about 6 months ago, and I had to ramp up really hard with that. So all my time is pretty well booked there. And then I get home and my day's booked there. So, but I'm getting to the point that I can start trimming some of the things out of it to make more time where it's needed.
Yeah, so go through the schedule making module, right? But really, you start with the priorities that have to be done. Work first, number one.
Yeah.
Has to be in there. And you just work your way through the list and then start to trim the fat, like you say, the things that just don't matter. Sometimes the things that we think matter, they don't. I'm going to use the guitar for a second because I do have a guitar and I like to play, but I've never actually learned. It's because I always have bigger and better ventures that are more important for me. You know what I mean? So it's not like I don't play it, but it's not a mission or a purpose in my life, because there are things that matter to me more, right? And I want you to think about your priorities that same way, okay? Make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
My last question about that with the schedule, because you talked about coming home and it's like booked, so that's family stuff. So have we got the kids doing too much? Are we like so hyper-focused on kids?
No, it's not that we're so hyper-focused on kids. It's that I don't get home until almost 6 o'clock at night most of the times. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to bed. It's get home, get dinner going, get tubs done, get them in bed sometime, usually between 7 and 7:30. And then it's, knock out some of the reset and then get some of the shit around the house done, just normal chores, right? Dishes, pick up, whatever. And then about that time, I'm heading to bed for some reflection. And then about 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm trying to get some sleep because I got something else going on that I just cannot. If I get less than about 6 hours of sleep, I'm spooked by about day 3.
Got it.
I need to figure that piece out.
Are you comfortable talking about that right now, since this will be posted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and tell me what it is.
No, I just I don't know what it is, but my sleep has been FUBAR for about the last 12 to 13 years.
Excuse me. You don't know what it is. I thought you didn't want to say necessarily what it was. Okay.
No, I don't. I need to figure out what it is. I'll let you know what that is when I get there, so we can.
Well, start with the basics, right? I mean, you can go get some help, but I'm always a proponent of natural shit, like starting with just eating right and working out. Always. And even if that means
Right.
with your schedule right now that you are only getting in a 25-minute workout, man, like be realistic with where you're at. If the sleep, because I mean, I get it. If you really can't even function because 3 days later, like that 6 hours matters, but see if you can start to move things around. See if some of the playtime can be workout with the kids, for example, making sure we're eating right all the time. If you can get creative, and we can do that, if you've got a good calendar set up, we can go get creative on a call. Right. But start with that, and then it's creativity, man. That's all it is. Right. Like I said, working out with guys. So sometimes when I want to do my ab workout and I don't do it at the gym, I just make sure I do it with my kids during playtime. The point is keeping physical and active. We usually play other games like tag or hide and seek, running after each other, baby shark shit, T-Rex stuff, zombie shit. I don't know, whatever they want. But then we'll throw in like little bits of workouts and things like that, and like, or I'll wrestle with them a lot so that I'm moving more. And for a guy in your position so far, that's still just a great enough start, right? You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Okay. So start with your calendar, and then we can talk about what we need to sort of get creative on. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one of the things that I want to get incorporated here soon is I just got done reading the book 5 a.m. Club. I don't know if you've read that.
I don't know 5 a.m. Club, no.
It's got a kick-in morning routine that basically says own your morning and elevate your life, right? Like get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and here's 3 things to get you started, right? It's like 20-minute workout, 20 minutes of reflecting, and 20 minutes of planning out your day for shit that needs to get done. And then by 6 o'clock, you're fucking going and getting things, crushing it.
I think it's pretty good, except for, you know how, well, you've seen the reset, like show a lot of resources. I take what I want from everything. So I take those first I would take those first 2, but I'd lose the other. You're already planned out. You already know what your day is going to look like. I have this whole thing. You don't need to be accountable if you actually take steps where accountability is not needed, right? So, for example, I wake up every day between, well, I say 4:30 and 5:05, but like I get up at 4 sometimes, whenever I wake up, and then I just get going because that's who I am now, because I go to bed on time, right?
So it's not planning out your day. It's it's growth. It's 20 minutes workout, meditation and kind of reflection on what your day is going to be, and then 20 minutes of learning something, podcast, book, reading, whatever.
That's totally cool. I actually like that a lot. It's like I tell you guys to take 20 minutes minimum and put it in your schedule for podcasts, for reading, for something like that. So same thing. I like that at the start of the day. That's actually currently what I'm doing right now. So in fact, when I work out, I'll almost always have an audio book on, something that I can learn from. And or if I'm into some really good training right now. So right now I'm moving my gym stuff around, and I'm making sure that when I start my day, I'm doing 2 hours of that when I get up in the morning before the family even moves. And so and the only reason I'm not doing the gym is because I need to be able to take notes on this one, right? So like, yeah, I like that. And if that's resonating with you, that's great. If it's resonating with you, it won't feel like work. It won't feel like you're sacrificing. That's the best way when we're changing things and making routines to sort of overcome some of these bigger obstacles, is like it's sustainable, right? That's why I tell you guys things like work out 7 days a week so that you just make it a habit. But at the end of the day, when we really get into it, that's just the start of the reset. When we start talking to Lords, I'll be like, yeah, but dude, if you really, really hate your fucking life and you're just going to quit in 3 months anyway, it's not sustainable. It's just not.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There's no point, right? So now it depends if you're just making excuses. So we have to always kind of be realistic, going back to purpose, what we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I love the direction you're at here. So what I thought we were going to talk about, actually, I think that it's really just finalizing the reset for you. It's really just honing in on making everything more natural and not thinking about it so much, which is just practice and implementation, right?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the repetition to build the confidence of it.
100%. And, you mentioned confidence earlier, and now you're saying it again. Like, the confidence just comes because it's natural, because you're not thinking about it. A lot of those dating gurus or whatever and attraction specialists, they're talking about fake confidence, right? With the reset, you love who you are. If you love who you are, right, like purpose will really change your life. That's the reason why it's so important, because it's massive. That's why it's finalizing the yes to and bringing the energy home. But if you're proud of who you are, you're authentic, your core values. I don't know if you made your own. I know a lot of Lords just steal mine. But like, if you own that and love that, you're not faking confidence, dude, which is why you make decisions differently, which is why you're not afraid about your wife's mood at the end of the day, because you're your own people. It's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect you. You're not hurting because it doesn't affect you, you know? And then you just realize one day, Carl, holy fuck, I didn't even realize I'm confident as fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about that day.
Well, it's hard because like forget owning us and our mistakes for a mistake. Forget starting the reset to take responsibility and become a better man, husband, father, leader in life. Okay, forget all of that jazz for one moment. And just think about that programming again and all these years of not feeling like you're good enough, right? And even if you didn't have some childhood shit, this happens to guys just, you know, when they have kids, wife doesn't want them anymore, they start handling it poorly, they start to become a nice guy anyway. Right?
Yep.
Whether or not they had it. Now, typically it's from bad childhood. But my point is this. If you have all those years of feeling like shit, trying to prove that you are good enough, how can you be confident? You know, you as a man, me as a man, we all get a bad rap because you're looking for approval and all this shit. But if you just don't feel good, because it doesn't seem like it's ever good enough, well, you've got to overcome that. You've trained yourself just like positives need to outweigh one negative. You've got to train those negative confidence thoughts 7 times for I am confident. We're just not doing it that way. I mean, you can do affirmation statements. I do give it to you guys. I just don't think that's what did it for me. I just think that it helps. It supports, right?
No, I think the affirmation statements are a good catch when I realize that I've said something like degrading, right? Like, man, I'm just not good at that. It's like, no, stop that. Rewrite that right now. How do you want it to say? Right? Like, yeah, I'm awesome at that, right? And that's as far as my affirmations go. For me, the confidence is going to come more from just knowing that my purpose is there, and living into that is going to give me that peace. And I just need to figure out what that purpose is right now.
Go down that rabbit hole. That I really agree with you. I really think that your purpose changes everything. You know, there's a reason why I say, no offense to doctors, I don't care if you save lives, because the mechanic's just as important, right? Remember that lecture, right?
Oh, yeah.
Without the mechanic fixing the car, there's no car accident. Without the car accident, the doctor getting to save a life. So yippee fucking do. It's not a purpose, it's a job, right? And so when you and that's why you see doctors are not happy either. That's why I got all this money in the world and my wife doesn't want me. We have some in Lords, right? Like, so it's something that is so defining for you. I believe as a person, but you know, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to men, but when you know what your direction in life is because you're guided by your purpose. And by the way, if you need to really dig deep, if you want another rabbit hole to go down, it's your pain, which is why I suggest, what can I do with losing my job and everything that I loved? And that's pain, dude. When you can dig into your pain, which is exactly why I can save marriages now, right? I can look at all my pain and why I look past it. So I want you to challenge yourself with that and embrace that, because that pain will make you so happy when you realize how you overcome it. And you'll never look back. I don't ever look back, and like, people are like, you don't seem like you're fucking remorseful at all for the abuse you gave Catherine. Now I'm just over it. I'm just not that guy anymore. I'm just not ashamed anymore. I've released the shame. I'm somebody new now because I have a purpose from that pain. Okay? So dig into that. And if you want, just be, sorry, if there's like, we live in like mosquito central. So if you want, make a list of all these things and drop it in Lords or bring it to a call and let's dissect it, man. Let's have some fun. It should be fun. In the old reset, I called it the fun, actually. So
nice.
Yeah, because it really is, man. And so it's kind of like the missing piece when you see Lords that are all upset, you know, wife's having a bad day and moods and this and that. And if you're happy with what you do, that does not affect your yes tone. It's not about keeping up the morale. You know what I mean? Makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you think about some of the Lords, like, that's why I say leave money out of it. Money will come. But if you think about some of the Lords that are starting businesses, it's not going as fast as they want it to. And, you know, they're all stressed about it. That's because they're doing their business. Sure, it might be a passion, but is it a purpose? They're doing it for money, right? Yeah, my wife would say one of my purposes is making money, but I have lots of things on the go. I'm trying to get you guys doing a bunch of work with me, to partner with me and do this and stuff. You are. That might give you so much joy, right? So, when you get involved with
I'm
that,
excited about that. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, you DM'd right away. I think you're the first one. So, I think just relax, chill, because it should be fun. And when it's fun, you're on the right track. When it starts to make you feel excited, like little spidey senses in the back of your neck, just like your wife gives you, it's fun.
All right.
Okay?
Makes sense, yeah.
Cool. Anything else you need, brother?
No, I think we covered the big things that I needed to touch on today. I appreciate that, guys.
Okay, you got it, man. One more thing I'll say, I can't actually remember if I said it, but just thinking back to Man at Play. Go be creative. Go look at the toolbox. Go think of the different things that you can do to have fun. You know her. You are so in love with her, dude. It's clear when you talked about it and smiling and whatever. So go have fun with that too. We get a bad rap for our purpose being our wife and our family and our job. But one of our purposes as Lords is our wife and our family, right? So
for sure.
That's fun too. So go have fun being creative and being excited. Do like some of the other Lords like to do and say, this is what I planned out, or this is what I did, because then everybody feeds off. Oh, that's a great idea, or I would have tried that. And then, guys who struggle with it or fall back into doing the same thing all the time, then you have a constant flow of ideas, and it's just not natural until it is natural, right?
All right.
Okay. Awesome, brother. Thanks for the call today.
No, thank you. Appreciate it, bro.
Oh, you're very, very welcome.